I'm 46, like, and I like,
and that was 2
yeah,
before
exactly,
you
and like
know,
I
so,
opened laundry and it was like, yeah, like 32,
it's like bloke
30,
who comes that has to be like logistically has to be like 70. Why are you watching why are you watching Danny Rants first of all? Like, what is happening?
Probably watching it because he's probably waiting for me to do a podcast so he could comment. He's been sitting around for like 13 years being like, my time will come.
So shitty, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Culture Show. We've got a crazy guest for you today. Man, I've just been absolutely loving the guests we've been putting in at the moment, man. Yeah. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe because just the yarns we've been putting out of this channel at the moment.
It's been hectic. We've been pouring through a fair few.
Yeah, and if you don't like watch the full episodes, go follow us on the socials, on TikTok and on Instagram at The Culture Show with a K, because like we put all the reels there and all the shorts. So if you want to go watch the clips and the funniest moments and stuff, go head over there. Let us know what you think. But yeah, man, I reckon we bring the guest back on. The guest we have for you today, ladies and gentlemen, is a familiar face. Well, I know will be a familiar face to a lot of our audience, man. So
yeah, facts.
a lot of people have wanted this one. A lot of people are excited to hear these yarns. So I think we'll get straight into the intro. One moment. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is a staple in the Australian hip-hop scene. He's the owner and founder of Melbourne's iconic live music venues, Laundry Bar and Bad Decisions. Here to talk about that and more, it's Dave from Laundry, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, my bro? Thank you for coming.
Cool.
These headphones make me feel so unnatural. I don't feel like I'm actually part of the conversation. I'm taking it off. Hold on. Yeah, you keep it on. Oh, brother, welcome. Thank you so much for coming, man.
Cool. Thanks for inviting me along.
How are you doing today, bro? To Saturday afternoon.
I'm alright. Yeah, it's kind of the middle of my busy part of the week, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, kind of running venues and stuff for so long and touring and things, like it just kind of, I think you get used to it after a while. But
get used to it, yeah.
Body's adapted.
Yeah, I throw my body around during the week, and half the week I spend getting up at 7:30 in the morning and in the office and going to bed early, and then the other half of the week it's kind of getting home at stupid o'clock.
Yeah. And then there's us complaining about one night out. Man, so I've got a lot I want to get into with you today, man, because I've been like playing at your venues, and he has with well and going to them since we were like fucking off. Or you say like 18, 6-7 years now. You know what I mean? Which is it's crazy. So to sit down with you today and have this conversation, man, is real cool to us, man. But what we like to do here, man, is we like to take it back. Do you know what I mean? And we like to get the story and on how it all began and everything and whatnot. So whereabouts did you grow up? Did you grow up in Fishery?
No, I grew up in a place called Portland in country Victoria, which is like
Portland.
4.5 hours away.
Yeah.
True.
Tuna fishing.
Yeah, it is. It's like and that's like like it's my family's been in that area for a really long time. Like my great grandmother lived there, and
nice.
My mum was born. I was obviously born there. My mum was born there. Her mum was born there as well.
So your whole family town.
Yeah, it's just so. And most of my family, like my mum, my dad, my brother, are all still down there.
Yeah,
so.
Nice. Do you reckon once you've got little ones and stuff, you'll go down there to raise a family and that?
Nah, it's too cold. It's
cold,
a really beautiful part of the world, but
Yeah.
it's just like it's too cold. If I was gonna do anything out of Melbourne, I'd be much more likely to go kind of North or Southeast Asia or something. I think, and just be able to get up and go for a walk on the beach in the morning.
Have
and
the sun actually come through your window.
100%, just be a bit warmer.
Yeah, 100%. A lot warmer than.
It's funny that you say Melbourne's like warmer, than Portland. I think Melbourne's too cold.
Oh, Melbourne's freezing. But
Melbourne's,
it's just like
the
further you go down, like the coast, it's just like and you get that. Portland's one of the. It's the biggest deep sea port between Melbourne and Adelaide, I think, and it was actually one of the first places that was settled in Australia.
Is it a small town or?
It's like 20,000 people, I think.
True.
So it's a city.
Yeah.
A lot of quite industrial, but really beautiful as well. Sort of I guess. Like Newcastle a little bit, but smaller. There's a big aluminium smelter there, and they're like the majority, I believe, of timber, wood chips and stuff exported out of Australia is all going through that port.
Right.
All the raw products for the aluminium go in through the port, and then the ingots go out again.
It's
like
a bit more than just tuna fishing.
yeah, but you get that, like, you know, that kind of Arctic wind off the ocean,
Right,
like,
yeah.
you know, that's sort of
What they
coming
call
up
it, the
through.
Docker Breeze or something like that.
No
I
idea.
can't- I feel like
Well, I
it's the
go
same.
to Portland. I look after the fire stations, or I do all the gyms and stuff.
Yeah,
So
cool.
I like service them all. And I go up to Portland and it's freezing.
Yeah.
It's right on the right on the water.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's just
Yeah, I think
cold.
that fire station's like opposite my brother's office. So
Oh,
there's a big
that's crazy.
it's like a big real estate agent across the road
Yeah,
from that.
yeah, yeah.
That's my brother's business.
Oh, that's
real
crazy.
estate.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, small world.
Yeah, that's
Small world,
my brother and my mum. That's their business. So yeah.
True. We'll have to
When-
in the next time.
So when did you decide to pack up and leave Portland?
So I moved to Melbourne when I was 17. So I'd started running. I'd run a couple of events down there when I was sort of 16, 17.
Like getting your training wheels on, sort of
Kind
thing.
of, yeah. And they were like, I mean, they were big enough events. I think the first event I ran and pulled like 1,000 people.
Whoa, nice.
So, and I had a whole bunch of council grants and stuff. It was more in the like heavy music kind of realm back
Yeah.
in those days. It was like, you know, metal bands like Damaged and Alchemist and
Yeah,
you know, all that
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of stuff. And then, yeah, I did a couple of those. I think the second one that I did had like Body Jar, Living End, Mind Snare, Area 7, a lot of that sort of stuff on it. And then I kind of...
they all like heavy metal,
yeah,
like
yeah,
they all,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they all
Yeah.
like locals or something like that.
Yeah,
or?
they're all like...
Alchemist
they're all-
is pretty
Yeah,
large.
they're
Yeah,
from,
I'm
yeah,
really
they're
gonna
from
know what
like
I hate for
Canberra.
that.
And it's like their second show they did, like, yeah, had like, I think like Living End were basically the headliner. And
The end is Australian. My dad
So
loves
you've
the
known this is
Living End,
always
yeah.
what you've wanted to do.
pretty much, yeah, I've just been like kind of around this. And then like, I guess basically like the short version of things from there was I kind of just came to Melbourne, you know, had a day job, started working around bars and stuff like that, and club nights and things. And just pretty much like as I went through, kind of worked out that like, yeah, you know, the promoter was making some money, but the venue was making like, you know,
The money.
the
Yeah.
money
Yeah.
essentially. And I had the skill set as I went along to do both.
Yeah.
So eventually I kind of put myself in a position to, yeah, basically be like running the events and running the venue, you know. So through a like long road of managing a bunch of other people's venues and then like, yeah, working on some bookings and stuff at, you
Work
know,
your way up
some
sort
other
of.
ones.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
So when you would come to Melbourne from Portland, that you said you were 17?
I moved here when I was 17.
When you were 17, was that with the goal of getting a venue and working from there, or were you like, was the goal managing events? Or
It was probably more like, yeah, like getting into events and managing events at that stage. Like I enrolled in a course at what was NMIT then, studying music business management, but got pretty frustrated with it pretty quickly because
Yeah.
it's sort of essentially like
learn on the field
I
sort of
kind
thing?
of
Yeah.
done like, yeah, a lot of what they were trying to like teach me to
Yeah.
do. And I'm also like, I'm very ADHD, you know, on the spectrum.
That's why you and Matt get along so
Probably,
well. Like,
Yeah, that's nice.
yeah,
Feel like-
no thanks.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, like I just, yeah, kind of got frustrated with that and then just
Yeah.
started working in like events and working with, yeah, like club nights and stuff, and then eventually got into a bit of tour management and
Yeah.
things. And
Were you ever in any bands yourself or anything like that? No, anything.
I
any
was
bands yourself?
always the manager.
Yeah.
Are
did some-
you
I did
like
some-
music? Like obviously you have to be to run music like events and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
You
gotta love
that.
it,
Do you-
somewhat, yeah.
Do you love music yourself?
Yeah, no, I do love all of that. And yeah, I like music, and I like people, and I like trying to like, you know, guys, help people out and get, you know, people ahead, and you know, like try to put events together and help people do what they love doing, you know, whether that, and that's like across the spectrum of the businesses, from, you know, people being bartenders and trying to like work their way up and increase their skill set there.
Yep.
And then like with the music as well, and I like just, you know, challenging myself and other people and things like that.
So it's
as
kind of
well.
like both all your joys in one sort of industry. Is
Essentially,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Which explains why it's been so successful over the years, man. Because it's just
Yeah.
everything you love in the one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've opened 5 venues in 13 years. So
And have they all been in Melbourne?
they've all been in Melbourne. I had 2 at South Wharf that was like short lived, sort of got in, got out. Wasn't really what we wanted to do. It was just sort of someone approached us, you know, with some spaces, and we were like, yeah, we'll go and bang something out.
Yeah.
And ironically, the funny thing with the 2 venues down there that we did was that one of them had like this unlimited budget, and we built this like beautiful, like function-based, bougie-looking, you know, venue. And then the other one was kind of this afterthought thing as far as the partners in it went. And they were just like, oh, look, we've also got this other shop. Like, we want you to do something with that. And we ended up like Tina and I kind of came with an idea for it. And it was like, we had Chihuahuas at the time, so we opened this little Mexican like place called Chihuahua Bar, and we legit like the bar was built out of like decking off carts and just this slab of wood.
Why is that so cool?
I feel like the kitchen was just all like, you know, secondhand equipment off like Grays Online.
That's
You know,
sick.
we built tables out of like these like Corona promo boxes that Ryan Nathan
Did that
just
one
had
do
sitting in
better
a
than
warehouse.
that?
Killed it. It was
Yes.
smashed it.
Yeah,
Like it was
yeah.
busy as, and the only thing that ended up killing it off was someone like, you know, Mad Mex or something like that opened in the DFO shopping center downstairs and started doing, you know, like $5 lunch bundles and, you know, all this sort of stuff. And it was like, oh, yeah, cool, like whatever.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, we just sort of got out of it because, yeah, like Tina at the time wanted to sort of go a different way and get into more youth, like child work kind of stuff. So she went back to school and then, yeah, like let them go. And then, yeah, I think a bit after that opened George's, which was like,
Yeah, I want to get into
wildly
George's a bit
successful.
because there's a bit of a story behind there. Hey,
yeah, well, there's actually there's 2 stories behind it, I guess. One is the real story, which was that, like, you know, here's the truth. It basically, like, we were sitting around trying to work out a name for this bar because we'd found this site. Like, our office at the time used to be almost like directly down the laneway on Brunswick Street.
I just today saw the photo when I was doing a little bit more research. Saw the
Yeah.
photo of what you took before you like
Yeah.
done anything to it. I'll put it here so everyone can see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we went in there. We like found this space. I kind of like I've always like walked into. I'm kind of like I do things probably backwards to how a lot of other operators do things. Most people have got like an idea and they're like, oh, I want to open this like, you know, cocktail bar or whatever, and like this is what I'm going to do with it, and then they go try and find a space.
Yeah.
My brain works the other way around.
Find the space and then
I
work out.
walk into a space and I'm like, this is what we should do in here.
Yeah.
So-
You could probably get the vibe of the energy of
Yeah, the energy of it and the
yeah.
layout and like what I think will work in there and stuff. So yeah, I walked into that space, knew kind of what I wanted to do in there, lent into a lot of Fitzroy kind of culture as well. Like, you know, there's like massive Adnate paintings on the side of the wall, and then like we had Sean Liu came in and like hand painted this like apocalyptic,
That's
you know,
hectic. Yeah.
Fitzroy scene inside and stuff like that on the walls, which the people that I ended up selling it to just like rolled black paint over, but including some of the Adnate stuff outside, I think, as well. Anyway, but yeah, so we were sitting at dinner one night trying to come up with ideas, and we're talking about what stuff we're going to move around, things like that. And at the time we had a whole bunch of like Greek descendant kind of stuff, and Tina's Greek as well. And we're like, geez, does that mean Greek people around? We should call it George's because her father's name is George. So we ended up calling the bar George's. And then randomly I went back to the office, and it was like, you know, when you're like trying to fit something out, you're always trying to like kind of keep it a bit like under wraps. I think I Googled George or George's or something. The first thing that came up with it was this like pop art image of George Costanza. And I'm like, I had these big like AO like printers in the office. I'm like, we'll just run a few of that, and we just like whacked it over the glass. And next thing I'm reading an article in Beat Magazine saying that there's a Seinfeld bar opening in Melbourne. And I'm like, okay, not really the intent, but cool.
Any press is good press. I guess.
Any press is good press.
Yeah.
Then like a minute later, you know, which was a little longer than a minute, but you know, like next thing you kind of know, it's like it was the most opened article on Beat Magazine in that 12-month period within like 3 or 4 days. And we were like,
do we lean into it? Like,
this is clearly something people want.
Yeah.
So like I had a mate at the time that was a picture framer. We had some pretty like good quality printing equipment in our office at the time, and we just started like madly like printing shit, framing it, like got on eBay, like bought a heap of shit, and just like ran with it. And next thing, like I did like so much press, like it was crazy, like sunrise, like I think we opened it on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or something like that, whatever the year was. I can forget the year off the top of my head now. New Year's Day morning, like I think it was sunrise, like whatever that Kochi dude's on, live cross to the bar, you know, like, and then like they're like, oh, you look tired. I'm like, well, you know, I've got this other bar laundry out the road, and we just did a big New Year's Eve party, and then I walked down here and like slept in a booth for an hour while your crew kind of set up, you know, like sunrise broadcast from there. I think like the other morning TV show, like mornings or whatever, like, you know, did the weather from there one day. Like there was one page that was 35 pages of Google results on George's Bar. Like it was like worldwide. Like I was doing like radio interviews in like Europe, America, everything. It was crazy. Wow. And then like
because you put like what one poster.
That's what you chose to like.
It was just like completely random.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it Tia? Sorry, Tia's
Tina,
dad.
Tina's dad's name's George.
Shout out George.
George Genelakis.
That is sick.
I used to know a George Apostolotus.
So
George's.
Like that was a thing, and then
what happened, bro? That was. Look, do you know what I mean?
Underlying that, I'm I guess quite commercially aware, I guess, and I knew that press and broadsheet stuff and all of that would just. It don't carry it so far. Mm-hmm. So we basically just ran with it, got pumped for months in there, like trade-wise, which was great. And then we just kind of took it off in the direction that we'd originally wanted it to be, which was kind of more of a like whiskey cocktail bar kind of thing.
Once the hype died down.
Once the press died down.
And then like you started putting DJs on the weekend, and it like built up to be this like solid little kind of like party bar on the weekend, and you know it was very like very white in there. You know, for want of a better description, I was just like after like and anyone that you know knows. Anyone that's been to laundry, for example, you know, knows that what I kind of mean by that. It was just like the audience of George's Bar was like nurses, tradies, off-duty cops, like, you know, like just white people. You know, whereas like our other venues are just so much more like diverse. Like it was just like it was just kind of like that.
Like a laundry bar is probably one of the most multicultural venues in Melbourne, like without a doubt. You know what I mean?
Like laundry does so many like that stuff. Does like heaps of like queer events,
like
stuff as well. Like you know,
the diversity in the music events that you do as well.
100%.
As you said, you had a psytrance event last night, like where there's hip hop events most weekends as well. You know, it's like
we've got like internally, like we've got brands like Girls Club that's like a queer female like fronted thing that's just like only females. Like Club Rights, another brand that we built internally that's now moving their next events, moving from Babs to Laundry because they've got a way bigger band lineup and they're like going to fill upstairs. But yeah, it's just it was a funny thing with George's. But then like last year we let that go and it went over to new owners. And,
so I saw your Instagram post about it. Just for the people who don't know, what was the reason? Are you allowed to speak about the reason why you decided to hand the keys? Yeah.
Look, in all honesty, the reason that we sold it was that I kind of got to a point where I didn't think I could improve the business anymore, and it wasn't really challenging me. Like I literally said to the guys that took it on, just like be around, buy people shots, talk to people, you know, let them get to know the owners, all that sort of stuff, and you'll be able to like take it to the next level kind of thing. But like I just didn't have the like time or patience, and I just didn't really like it. Got to a point where it's just like I particularly enjoy going down there, if that makes sense, you know. And I guess at like this point in my career, like I'm like
got pretty stagnant with it.
Like end of this year, you know, it'll be like 30 years in like Melbourne hospo kind of thing, you know. Like next month is 13 years at Laundry.
Wow,
that's crazy.
You know, like it's just like I guess I got to a point where it's just like, you know, like business has been doing well. You know, we're in that position where it was just like, you know, I'm like, you know what? Like, I really like going to Bads and hanging out. I like being at Laundry. I like what we do there. And then I've got this other venue that, albeit it's, making money, but it's like, you know, got DJs playing like, you know, ABBA and K-San and stuff like that, and I'm just like, it's not really my vibe. Like, you know, it's like, you know, I just felt like I was almost like, you know, one of the other bars up the street the other day, like they had an issue with their toilet or whatever, and they're like, oh, have you got an emergency plumber? I'm like, look, just, I'll come have a look at it. You know, like I went in, fixed it, but it was just like, it almost felt like that with George's, you know, that's sort of the calls would be the manager be like, oh, there's something kicking off down here. Can you run down with the security guard? Or like, you know, the toilet's broken, or like, you know, something stopped working. And I was just like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll come down and just fix it. You know, and it was just like,
just another thing to deal with.
Yeah, it was just another thing to deal with. I didn't necessarily like want to be down there. I wasn't super passionate about what we're doing in there towards the end.
Yeah.
It was just, another bar. And like, you know, a lot of people like set their businesses up in that in a way where it's just like, that's probably the ideal, you know,
They said it wasn't challenging.
I probably spent 5-6 hours in the venue a week, and it like, you know, netted me a few $1,000s a week, but it just, it wasn't like a challenge for me. Wasn't things that, again, you know, I wanted to like kind of get my teeth into, you know. It's just like, cool, we could probably put some effort in here and get trivia busier on a Wednesday, or comedy on a another night busier or whatever. But I'm like, I don't really care. Like, I don't really want to go to the trivia, you know. But it's just like, you know, if I like put the same amount of effort into like putting a sick lineup together for like laundry, or like working on something with bads, or, you know, trying to like work on products in there, or work on like events,
and you're actually going to enjoy it, and you're going to go to it as well. You're not just going to organise it, you're going to go to it, you know what I mean? Because that's one thing I noticed about you. Like, obviously we've been going to events at Laundry for years now and playing them and stuff, and you're always there. You're always at the if you're not at the door, you're upstairs watching, you know what I mean? You're always there, you know, like, and that's one thing that we love to see, you know what I mean? But
Laundry Bar was the first ever rap gig that I ever went to.
First ever venue I rapped at,
it was sick because it had, I had a jumper, and we bought a jumper, I don't know, it had LB on it, like, for Laundry Bar, and I thought that was so sick, 'cause that's my initials. I'll never forget that. And, I actually went and seen Dimmy play. That's that.
Damien Illich. Yeah. Man, I've got some crazy stories. Do you know I broke my leg at Laundry Bar? Do you remember that? It was about 2 years ago.
I do remember it.
Yeah, broke it in 3 spaces. I've bitched about it on this podcast so much.
Was it like a Wombat show or something?
No, it was our show.
Oh, it was your show.
It was I won't say who it was with, but it was and there was two of the boys were punching on the side of the stage, and I've jumped off to help, and because they spilled alcohol everywhere, my foot landed and it went, and I've dropped on my ass. Yeah, no, that was an eventful. I've had a few eventful times, man. I love that venue so much, man.
Yeah. But great venues, and it's good. Like all the staff and everything, they're all on that same level. They're all very friendly, very nice.
Yeah,
it's always a good positive vibe to go. And not just laundry, but bads as well. Like, I always feel like if it's too hectic at laundry, you can just go to bads, or vice versa. You know?
It's been great having that relief, I guess. Like, you know, and it was something that like we didn't necessarily think about when we like built bads, that it could be a bit of a relief to like laundry, but it definitely has been that, you know, people like
the
to go
luck
there.
of it being right next door too, you know what I mean, is
perfect.
So this is actually, I'm still in this question from Liam you spoke to me about earlier, but when you guys started laundry, was it already laundry when you got the space, or?
So the full origin of, I guess, the laundry name is that it had been laundry. There was a venue on that site from when I was younger that was called Laundry. When I bought it, it was actually called Revelers Northside, but then I reverted it back to Laundry, and we basically relaunched that brand. But it had been Laundry sort of like, I believe, kind of like, you know, possibly late 90s, definitely early 2000s. So you'd have to like go back to like a old head, like, well, you'd have, like old heads like dudes like J Red and, you know, guys like that, or Peril, or one of those like older heads would be like, oh yeah, no, Laundry was like these dates, and then it was this other thing, and then Dave took it over.
Man.
Which is, you know, still seems to be like a controversial thing on the internet for some people. That like,
go into that, man. I didn't know that was
some people still don't like what I've done in there. You know,
really? Like, I suppose the old heads, it'd be like some politics.
It's just so funny. Yeah. Like, I literally, like, there was a comment on, like, when I did the Danny Rants podcast, like, someone commented something about like, being better before Dave like took it over or something, and I full like commented back. I was just like, bro, like I've owned it for 13 years. It was Revelers for like 4 or 5 years before that.
Yeah,
that's like 17 years. I'm like, if you're holding on to this shit for that long, like you probably like got some bigger issues going on than like what I like my curation of like music in that venue, you know, like really like
it's like 15 years ago. They
Imagine
never would have
being
played
like
this
50
music.
and being going, fuck, bro, nah, that new owner of billboards
Yeah.
ruined it. Like,
But first of all, if you're old enough to remember Laundry before it went to like that Revolver's North Side, and then that's when you changed it. Why are you even going to Laundry Bar now?
Oh,
These days?
totally,
Anyway,
dude.
you're
Like-
you've got to be like 70 at that point.
100%. I'm 46. Like, and I like,
and that was 2
yeah,
before
exactly.
you,
And
know,
like,
so,
I opened Laundry and I was like, yeah, like 32,
it's like bloke
30,
who comes to that has to be like logistically has to be like 70. Why are you watching Danny Rants first of all? Like, what is happening?
Probably watching it because he's probably waiting for me to do a podcast so he could comment. He's been sitting around for like 13 years being like, my time will come.
I'll get to put my comment on you.
I'll get to like, you know, one day this guy's going to do some podcasts and I'm just going to jump on it and be like, bang.
He's have to call his grandson. How do I comment on this?
Laundry was better before you got there.
Oh man.
Thankfully, with Bad Decisions, no one's really reminisced about the days of La Sangria bar that was there beforehand when the bar was twice as wide and it had a staircase and you could dance on it. Yeah, I just think like some people just didn't like some people just took the like that move to like newer hip hop like real badly, you know, but like at the end of the day it was just commercial, you know, and again,
it was
like
so smart, bro. It was so smart.
yeah, and so much of it, like, you know, it's almost like, you know, I like start to feel like I like have fallen into like, you know, whatever goes on in there sometimes because so much of that stuff's just been like
Politics and
no, it's just been the same thing. It was like even all these like massive Drake events that we did and stuff like that, like, you know, it started off as a joke in the office, you know, like I put like Drake announced a tour. I put a post on Facebook that was something like, Drake, all I see in my feed is Drake, like I'm seeing so much Drake stuff, I should run an event, call it Drake, put Drake on the poster and just play Drake all night, and it'll probably pack out, and like it got like 1,000 likes or something, and I was just like, okay,
I'm doing it.
this could be a thing, and then we ran like years of these like, Drake parties, Kanye parties, like, you know, Drake versus Rihanna and like all, you know, all that sort of stuff. And those things were like just crazy. Like there was nights, I remember, I think it might have been like a Rihanna party or might have been Drake versus Rihanna or something. And like weirdly, and I think it was someone that was like on the way out in Dana Andrews' social media team, like tweeted about it. So there was a tweet came from like the premier saying like work every day except tomorrow because it was like the AFL Eve or something like that, and then like head to Laundry Bar tonight or something like that.
What?
And it was like literally like this night was like it was this probably this time of the year. It was like well actually yeah, it would have been like middle of winter because it was probably that grand final eve public holiday, and it was belting down with rain. It was cold as shit, and there was like people were lining up for 3 hours to get in there. We were like handing like these plastic ponchos like down the line. You'd get once they got under the awning out the front, they were under shelter. Yeah. People would like take their like these plastic ponchos off, and we'd hand them down the line. And we were just like we perplexed ourselves at times. You know, walking because we've always been out the front, talking to people, like even in the rain. You know, we were out in the rain too. You know, and we're like out there, and we're like, oh, how long you been in the line? So I remember someone saying like. Oh, like 3 hours. It's like why? Almost. It was just like we just want to get in, like get to the like you know like listen to the music. And it's just like cool, like
wow,
awesome.
Because like I think people understand, man. Like especially after so many years now, that Laundry Bar, you guys understand the culture. Do you know what I mean? And you're very fast with it too. Like you're always watching. Like I remember like. just recently, like for an example, when the Drake and Kendrick beef was going on, I remember sitting out there with the boys after a work day or something. We were all just chatting, and I'm scrolling my Instagram, and I remember just saying out loud to the boys like, "Fuck, they are quick." Because I remember you guys had put on the night like, which side you got? You know, I'm like,
that's what I was
damn.
gonna
Like,
say. Do you have like is it just you, or is it like do you have like a team that like stays up to date with all that sort of stuff?
So there's like 3 of us in the office now. At one point there was about 7.
Wow.
But yeah, we're down to like 3 now. But yeah, look, you know, everyone's pretty onto it and into kind of what we're doing. You know, and there's probably like, I mean, there's 2 kind of, now there's probably like 3 distinct sides of what we're doing, you know, particularly with laundry, but also I guess it sort of overlaps with bads as well. Is that, yeah, there's sort of like a bit of a club element to the business, which was our strongest thing for a good decade until COVID hit. And then there's, like a hip-hop kind of curation and booking side of the business, and now we've kind of opened the genres up to doing other events, so there's just like a more standard sort of booking mechanic that we're having to like kind of work with and cater to now as well. So because like, you know, hip-hop wise, like there's you know, like there's events that we do, and like obviously we've like gone a certain route with a lot of that. We do you know, stuff with everybody, but like there's definitely been, it definitely feels at times like there's sort of some factions in the hip-hop thing, and there's a few different ones, and there's definitely like I do always feel like there's a bit of a thing where like, those heads that are kind of doing that more like melodic-y, hippie, sort of north sidey kind of stuff, and some of that, like they don't want to do things at laundry. And then obviously we've like got the like drill gutter, all that stuff on lock, like you know, and it's
from
like
day dot, man.
and it's like the opposite there, like no one else wants to do it, and like we successfully and safely do it. Like
I feel like what I don't feel like these guys. I don't feel like it's a matter of them not wanting to play laundry. I feel like what it is from an artist perspective is, you guys are sort of the only venue that will have a lot of these artists, you know what I mean? So when they've played laundry now 10 times, they start to feel a sort of sense of entitlement, where they're like, I've played laundry 10 times, I want to play other places. I've heard it from so many artists, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's a matter of they don't want to play it. I think they just start to get a sense of entitlement after playing it too much.
But
you know what I mean?
Sorry, at the same time, if you're an artist and you haven't played at laundry, you can't even...
You have to play laundry, you know what I mean?
This other little kind of like thing that's like been there for a while, and it seems to be kind of, like, it feels like it's like reforming a little bit around, you know, without, you know, saying anyone's names, there's sort of this other, you know, promotion crew sort of thing happening at the moment, and, you know, they seem to be sort of, steering away, like they've done some stuff with us, but they seem to be like almost deliberately not doing stuff with us. And I don't know whether that's a brand thing, like, I mean, this is another thing I've had over the years, you know, it's like we've tried to like collab with other like club promoters and things when our club nights were really, really strong. And we'd be like, oh, we really want you to run your night with us, or like in our venue or whatever, and they're like, look, honestly, like your brand's big, like stronger or bigger than our brand. We just want to like do it in other venues that aren't known for doing that stuff. So it almost gives them that sort of like big fish in a small pond kind of thing, where they're like, oh, like we're going to go do a venue that does like mostly rock bands or whatever, and we're the only people doing like rap stuff. But, you know, and like some people just have like preferences for venues and stuff. I mean, you know, and then like I look at everything like a sort of science, I guess. So like, you know, and from what we deliver, and it's like, you know, it's a bit of a biased thing, you know, and I'll walk into, I've gone to gigs at other venues, and I've like walked into some venues and just been like, why would they want to play here? I'm like, you know, the green room's a curtain, you know, like the PA's like crap. It sounds awful in here. They've got no equipment, like, you know, and all of that. And I'm just like, why? Why do you want to play here and not like laundry? But, you know, it's just like everyone's got their own
you can't please everybody.
And you can't please everybody either. Exactly. And then I've got other people that like will only play
Play
there.
what? Yeah, 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 100%.
And while the venue's there and exists and all of that, like they wouldn't want to play anywhere else.
Yep, 100%. Well, it's like it's very rare that we're elsewhere playing shows, eh? Like it's a very, very rare thing. Even we our first culture show event, we went and did the laundry and stuff because it's like. No, it would feel.
It's part of the culture.
That's what I mean. It'd feel weird to do it anywhere else, especially because like that's where we've sort of learnt about the culture growing up with it. That's where it was our first live events to go and see. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's almost like school for like little street hip hop kids. You know what I mean? You go and get educated about hip hop.
And there's other people running around saying that they're like everything's for the culture and like all this sort of stuff. And I guess it's like I don't know. It just feels funny when you come from a point of view of being like we've never done that, we are what we are.
Exactly.
We are what we are.
Exactly.
We are where we are. We do what we do. And like
come and have a good time or
everyone
don't,
like a human being unless they prove otherwise. And like if you're coming in doing the right thing, not causing a drama, like whatever, or it's small and it gets dealt with or whatever, like everyone has a yarn about it and everyone moves on with their lives. It's not. It's just like we don't feel the need to shove down people's throats that we are delivering a culture to you or whatever.
Because then you also box yourself too. You can't do anything else if you know what I mean. Exactly.
It's just being authentic, I guess. The way that you have has just stapled you in the sense, unintentionally, sort of thing.
Now, what would you say? Sorry, out of how many venues you've run and with. So how much, like you said, 30 years in Melbourne Hospital or something, 30 years in Melbourne Hospital, what would you say are the biggest struggles of running a live music venue?
At the moment, it's really just like the spend per head versus the costs. It's just like, Liam was at a gig last night, you saw like the venue's busy, but like the bartenders aren't. And then like at the same time, our public liability insurance has gone up by 10 times.
Wow.
Our rent's going up at 7.6 something % every 12 months. Like our alcohol prices are going up. And then like consumer demand's dropping. Like people are going out less, they're drinking less, they're spending less money when they go out. They're out for less time. And then like everything like kind of outgoing from our end just keeps going up. How do
you like get around things like that? How do you navigate it?
Like we're just trying our best at the moment, to be honest. I really don't know in the long term like what the solution is. There's definitely going to have to be some sort of government intervention, I think, in like like for example, if you're paying like $50 for a bottle of booze at Dan Murphy's, like 30 of it's taxed. Now, maybe if you're buying it from Dan Murphy's and you're taking it home and you're like smashing it and then like you're beating up your missus or like whatever goes on, that $30 does go to the government to like help prevent harm and help people with ongoing health issues and stuff that are alcohol related or whatever. But if you're, say, drinking that bottle within the confines of a licensed hospitality venue that has to have security and management plans in place and all of these things like happening in there, then like, do we need to be contributing $30 per bottle towards that either? And then, you like kind of again extrapolate that out over like
business
volume,
to personal and,
like it's sort of like, we might go through like hundreds of bottles of booze a week, say, like, and then we're like, putting all of this money into the economy, then plus we're like having to pay, again, our liquor licensing fees have gone up about 4 times in the last, few years.
Wow. What is that? Is that just like inflation or is that like...
A lot of it's government and like a lot of it's, in all honesty, I feel like with insurance stuff, it's like the insurance industry just taking the piss. It's just like they can... After COVID, they're just like, we don't really want to insure anybody. Like, there was like, still hasn't been anyone really like, it doesn't seem like there's been any successful so far, like big class actions or anything where, someone's got together 100 people that caught COVID in a confined space that was full of people and maybe people were drinking or whatever and like sued the bar or like whatever. That doesn't trying to work multiple jobs and all sorts of things to like
I was gonna say, like, what was the hardest thing from your turnaround from COVID? Because obviously that would have really impacted you. Like,
just trashed our businesses. Like like it's Bads has done well. Like Bads was sort of, I guess, like almost open like weeks or months before COVID hit. So it sort of hadn't really like
taken off yet.
Gotten all that established. And then we made our way through COVID. We did all right out of it. It's the funny thing with COVID because the government gave everyone like all these like really like kind of rudimentary set amounts of money in businesses and particularly in hospitality. And it was very much a case like I had 3 venues at that time and like they were almost like they were literally like kind of giving us too much money for bad decisions and Georges every week. It'd be like the government would give us more money than we were taking in the first place. But then like laundry was like not even, laundry would get the same amount of money or, even if it was double, you might have had a venue, like say laundry might have been taking like, say 6 figures a week and then they're giving you 20 grand and it's just like, they're like, oh, but we gave you $20,000. Yeah, but we're taking 100 like beforehand, like.
So even the extra you're getting from George's and Bad's isn't even covering what.
So and I think that's what like we're starting to see a little bit of now too is that some of those smaller venues and things like that, maybe they put some of it aside or, they managed to use it to float through things and now it's all just starting to dry up and everyone's costs have kept going up and turnouts are down and what people are spending when they're out is down and that's where we're starting to see like a drop off in venues. There was a stat yesterday or the day before that said something about they reckon that 1 in 13 venues is going to close in Melbourne in the next like 12 to 18 months.
Wow,
and I was talking to someone that afternoon from a liquor company and she said, I reckon it'll be more like 1 in 4.
Yeah.
So, even
guys, I know it's hard times, but go spend your money at these venues, please. We need them as artists. We need them.
Facts.
Man.
And a lot of it is that literal thing, people are like, oh, I'm going to go out and like see like artists or whatever. But, I can pay $12 for a RTD at Liquorland and drink it on the way down there and then like, I got to pay $14 when I get in the door. But then they just don't buy anything when they're in the venue.
Yeah.
It's
like I bought my ticket here. That's enough. I bought my entry. That's enough. You know what I mean?
But we're not even seeing that money. That's all again in most venues, 90 to 100% of like any door revenues is going to the promoter or the artist or whatever, which is the way it should be. But at the same time, the way live music venues in particular were always set up was kind of that we made the money off the bar and that kind of floated everything else. We could pay to have the production in there and we could pay to have everything in there and pay the bills and everything. And kind of subsidise the live music side of things, and that meant we didn't need to take any money off artists or promoters or things like that. All be like a small fees to cover a sound guy
Basic
or a
stuff,
door person or whatever. And most of those costs are really literal. It might be like we charge you $500 for production or $350 or whatever at something like Bad's and you literally we're like, you might as well just hand it to the tech because that's how much their fee is for the night. Just pay the door girl $90 because that's how much she's getting. I'm not getting anything out of it.
Exactly right.
But at the same time, somewhere like laundry, for example, I've got nearly $1 million worth of sound equipment in there. I own it all. I've paid for it to be in there. I got to pay to maintain it. We had an event the other week that blew a 21-inch sub and damaged another one.
No.
$650 each for recones and $500 and something in freight from the UK. So
the pain.
What sort of music?
It was like
heavy.
a hard techno kind of thing. They blew one of the 21s downstairs and
downstairs too.
One of the other ones was intermittent, so we had to get recones for both of them. But it's just that's might be in that $500 production fee that you're paying for an event. The tech might be getting $350 of it, but then we're trying to put $150 per event aside for when something like that blows. And again in that circumstance it was thank God it wasn't the amp, because originally you thought it was the amplifier that had blown, and then we started looking at amps, and the amps were that was a MC squared T2000. They're $5,500 each. So the $1,200 for 2 Recone kits and $500 in freight was a relief almost, because it was still $3 and a bit grand less than what
the cheapest option
an amp was.
Literally. Wow, crazy. Speaking of cost, something I want to get your opinion on, man. It's a little bit off topic, but not really. Maddie was here the other day and we were speaking about it a little bit off air outside.
Yeah.
So obviously, dudes tagging in the bathrooms and stuff is a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, and I want to ask your opinion on something because I can't remember what venue it was. I won't name the name anyway.
Yeah.
But they had an all female rap gig or something like that, which was which was sick and stuff. Like Phoenix played it in that.
Yeah.
And I think you know where I'm going with this. Yeah. So for those of you at home who don't know, at this gig, someone guffed the bathroom up, and the owners of the venue took the cleaning fee out of the artist's ticket money. How do you feel about that? Obviously, we won't name any names and stuff, and because obviously that's something I've never seen. You guys obviously do not. I've seen you crack it many times over graph on the wall.
I've seen him scrubbing the fucking shit off the walls.
We've done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's bad. It was really bad to a point. Like,
but in saying that, like, I wouldn't do it that way. Like, the way that we've done it a couple of times is when things have been really bad. Like, we've had to turn around to the artist and say, look, you paid your production fee, but then, like, the venue got wrecked.
Yeah.
Like, we are going to hit you for a cleaning fee as well.
Yeah.
Which, in fairness, like, we're having to, like, use labour, buy chemicals and shit, and like even like you
come in to actually do it.
The reason half the time you see me doing it, like is like I'm just like, because it seems to be the only thing that gets through some people's heads
when they walk in and see
they like see me cleaning it off the walls, and they're like, and they'll know who I am or whatever, and just be like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, who do you think was going to come and clean it up? Like the cleaning fairy, like your mum, or like like they're just like, it's out of their brain that like, oh, like the council will come do it or something. It's like, no, like I've got to do it, and then I'm like spraying like hectic chemicals on the walls to get half these textures off.
Yeah.
And like, it's a confined space because we've had to like, we're trying to soundproof everything. So we've blocked all the windows off and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like breathing all this shit in. And I don't want to like, have the drama of staff, having a health issue later on because they've breathed it in, and then I've got a work cover claim. So I'm just like, I'll just do it myself. But you also work out, in doing that, like I've worked out half of it will just, come off with soapy water half the time. I had someone the other day, like I think there was a gig and, it's like, oh, you've like got this worked out, and he's just like, oh, whatever the concoction in that jug is working well, and I was just like, it's 99-cent dish soap and a green sponge, like
all this expensive shit.
100%. Well, it's funny because I used to spray it with all this hectic expensive shit, and then I'd wash it off, and then like I just was like, why don't it just come off? And we like during COVID we like redid all those bathrooms upstairs, and we like tiled them with like gloss white tiles and stuff, and it mostly just slides off.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it still just takes time, and it's messy, and it's just
tiles.
like, it's just like, again, it's like, it's the last thing. And we had a gig recently where it happened, and I think you might have been at that gig and saw me scrubbing stuff off the wall, and people were like, oh, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, because I don't want to do it at 4:30 a.m. man. I'm like, I'm 46 years old now, like, the last thing I want to be doing at like 3:30, 4 o'clock when we shut is scrubbing the walls. Like, if I'm in your way, too bad. Tell your mate not to take it. But I'm not sure about taking it out of ticket revenue without sort of really like communicating that or whatever. I think that,
especially like if it was maybe a thing that was brought to the artist before the show was even maybe then,
and it might have been it might have been in an event hire agreement or something,
because then it makes sense, because then it's on the artist to tell your people don't fucking draft because it's coming out, you know what I mean? So then that would make sense to me. But to take it out of the artist's pocket if they don't even, because some of the artists might not have even known anyone who was, you know what I mean, and they've just lost the only money that artists really have revenue through because of some other idiot ruined it for them,
and that's a bit of a hard one, because I've like, that's sort of where, like we've had some things over the years where I kind of have felt that same way about it too.
Yeah.
But there's also been some where it's just like there was just idiocy with some.
Of course,
we had one gig and, like the dude running it was handing out like rattle cans on stage. And it was just like, what do you think's going to happen, bro? He's like, oh, but we had a paint sponsor. And I'm like, you can't hand out spray cans on stage in the middle of a gig and like, hope no one does anything dumb. Like, it's just like, tell them to collect them from the door at the end of the night and put their name on a post-it note or something.
Yeah, it's like giving fucking a toddler a Nerf gun and telling them not to shoot that. You know what I mean?
Like, crazy. It's like, just don't make good decisions. But then other times, you're like, oh yeah, like I mean that rapper's like on stage performing their headline show or whatever when someone's tagging the toilet, and you know, they don't know. And it's just like, again, with most of these things I find, you know, the kids that get into like, you know, a lot of the time, like get into like fights, do dumb shit, or like, tag stuff and that, like they don't know the venue, they don't know the kind of the culture and the way things are around and stuff. Because I can tell you, like that first, you know, it was before your times, but it was like that first, you know, like, probably 6-7 years of laundry at least, when, you know, what we'd now see are the, you know, the old heads, you know, and guys like Brad Stratton, you know, like Smash Brothers and all that sort of stuff. That was all the gigs every weekend and stuff. No one did shit in there.
Yeah.
You know, no one ever got into a fight. No one ever tagged anything. I mean, they'd punch on up the side street.
Yeah.
They'd tag outside and all of that, but no one ever did anything in there because it was like, you know, it was like home, you know, it was like this sort of mecca of just being like, all the good shows are here, everything we want to see is here, like, you know, let's not fuck it up, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And like, I've seen that shift over, the last, probably post-COVID particularly, where it is, like young kids.
I was going to say, do you think that's a generation thing that's sort of come with the, you know what I mean?
Definitely is, because some of it's dumb, and like, you know, we had a gig there, that gig that I was scrubbing the walls, and it was like an artist that was on the show tagged the toilets with
damn
his
cunt.
name.
Sorry, excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen.
And I'm just like, are you fucking for real, bro?
Did he book the show there? Did you guys book him to play there?
He was like, it was a lineup that another rapper put together.
So he got booked to play there, and he
he like plays at Bads, and you know,
possibly sick.
But probably not here.
Probably not here.
So,
okay.
Yeah, there has been some sort of background discussion about potentially opening and other bad decisions. Somewhere else.
Great! Oh, I remember I was talking to you about this at the venue. Yeah.
So we've been having there's been a few ideas thrown around about potentially opening Bads in Brisbane.
Whoa!
So
Millsy can go to Bads again.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But, it's definitely like at the very much at the planning stage.
Yeah.
But we're just got to see where things go, and just spend a bit more time up there and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So,
definitely, I think it would be the perfect scene for it. Like Brisbane, that would be the perfect nightlife for it.
Yeah, I went to Surfers. Yeah, it was hectic.
Yeah.
Brisbane's not Surfers. It's
No.
it's a little bit lower, I think. Isn't it? Higher.
Yeah.
It's pretty much it's like Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sunny Coast.
Yeah.
But like the one thing I really like about Brisbane that I'm noticing, like kind of a trend in Melbourne, is like people kind of like seem to be going out a lot more in kind of just pockets in Melbourne. They're like, everyone's like going to Chapel, or they're going to the city. And the thing with Brisbane is like everything's in the valley. So it's not like, oh no, I'm a Chapel Street person, or I'm a like Fitzroy person.
No, we're going to the
I
valley.
go out in the city. It's just like, if you're going out in Brisbane, you're going out in the valley. Like that's it. They're not. You're not going out anywhere else. You're going out in the valley. Because all of their like late night licenses and stuff are all in the one area. So it's just like, I feel like there's a bit of an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Eventually, and if we can sort of bring a bit of a Melbourne.
Yeah,
that would be so fun.
You got the tats and stuff, so like you can't get into any places up there with face tattoos, neck tattoos, hand tattoos. Yeah,
that'd be like the only place.
Definitely the Gold Coast. Yeah.
Oh, so it's all right. It's all right in Brisbane.
Brisbane's not as bad. Yeah.
True.
It's got a bit more of an alternative kind of.
Yeah. What would you say is your least favorite thing and your favorite thing about running live music venues?
Seeing Nate's head every weekend.
Least favourite things probably having to. Least favourite things probably having to pay the bills. I don't know. Look, I think the least favourite thing, like in trade sort of thing, is just like when people aren't having a good time, or they're kind of take something or overindulge a bit and end up having a kind of a bad night, or they get kind of this. Starting drama with other people and things like that. And the best thing I think about it is just being able to kind of almost the opposite of that, like being able to help people out in those
Yeah.
situations, either getting back on track or like, you know, kind of like, yeah, help them try to like, you know, do performances or put on events or do things like that to be able to like, you know, yeah, advance themselves and things. And, you know, like that's been the big thing with a lot of, particularly, you know, that rap style that, you know, we've done a lot of in the last couple of years with the you know, the gutter stuff, and that is just like being, all these people are trying to like do better. You know, they're all trying to like not be going to jail or, you know, getting into dramas or, you know, dealing or like whatever, and they're all trying to turn their like life around through music. And then, you know, you've got these external kind of forces like police and things like that, you know, trying to shut some of it down.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, well, like, shut down the other end of it. You know?
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
just,
You're not hitting the right source to shut it down at all.
exactly,
Yeah,
You know, like, you know, go raid trap houses.
Yeah.
Like, go raid drug dealers. Like, get better at detecting shit in the mail. Or whatever,
yeah.
You know, like,
Literally.
Whatever it is,
you know,
don't
trying to shut
the
down
venues.
Yeah, don't pull
try
up
to shut
50
down
deep.
events,
Yeah,
like,
pull up 50 deep to venues and just hang out the front to
Yeah.
try be intimidating.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
And we will see that, you know, when, who knows when this will like obviously go up online, but you know, you will see that on the 8th of June, in West Melbourne, you know, that 1-4 show at Festival Hall.
Of course. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
They won't do anything about it because the church owns the venue. Live Nation are the presenter, who are the biggest promoter in the world, and Melbourne City Council are the main sponsor of the event, so they're not shutting it down.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you there will be a massive like,
Police presence, yeah.
like, all wrapped around the venue to be intimidating as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I'm not here.
It's so stupid. Like, it's just the stupidest way to go about what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and what they're trying to, yeah. It doesn't even seem like the message that they're saying that they're trying to put across doesn't even seem like that's what that is anymore.
It's not working.
You know what I mean?
Like,
But yeah.
but like even like think about it, like the Husky, Kid Kirby and fucking Entar and Juggernaut, they just played it. They're
the band from
it was banned from New South Wales. They're promoting it now.
Yeah,
They're using it to their advantage
Yeah.
to actually promote that. So it's doing the complete
Did
opposite.
you guys cop it off? Did Laundry cop it from the Jackster? No, okay. I swear one of the shows on that tour got shut down or something. It must have been the.
Probably one in New South Wales.
Yeah.
The thing that we
They're
find,
like, we called it.
yeah, we find that stuff that, and I don't know if it's like what it is, but it just seems like it's very the police intelligence, for want of a better description, because that's how they would describe it, around a lot of these events is very centric to the state. So like we'll get a phone call or an email or something about, you know, a rapper from Collingwood that's, you know, up on some charges for something that's, you know, an opening act on something, and they don't like that they're playing. But yeah, like I will have spent, you know, whether, you know, people like the dude or not, but, you know, I spent like weeks on the phone negotiating with parole officers for old mate from Sydney. I forget the guy's name now. I'll probably have to cut that out. Snowy the Bad Man.
Oh, no
You know,
shit.
like I spent
Yep.
weeks negotiating with his parole officers
True.
and stuff to get him down here. You know, we've done 10 years, albeit for, you know, some future things, but it was just like, you know, yeah, like, and they no concerns.
Yeah.
And that weekend that he played was literally like, yeah, it was like Enter an 046 on the Friday night and Snowy the Bad Man on the Saturday night. Like, and then that beef kicked off again, you know, a little bit after that. But it was just like, you know, like, not like that wasn't even on the radar, you know.
Yep.
And then also half the time with this stuff, it's like when you even get some of these things, it's just like, you know, we're dealing with, again, authorities calling and, you know, like, yeah, dropping government names and things of people, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, not like, you know, if 046 are coming through, or, you know, like, you know, we're having some yarns the other day with DJ Z from, like, in Sydney, who's like, he's like 1-4's DJ, about maybe doing something at Laundry on after the 1-4 gig.
Sick.
I don't know who his name is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, they're like, you know,
Darren Edwards has got
or
charges.
something like that. He's like, got charges in New South Wales. Are you concerned about him playing your show? I'm like, I don't know.
If I see his ID, I'll let you know.
It's just, like we literally get some of that stuff where it's just like, I'm like, I don't even know who you're talking about.
Yeah. It's like, can you start using stage names?
So it's just like, it's a funny thing. But, and then we've had that stuff where just complete overreactions with things as well, like shutting down streets and all sorts of stuff. And it's just like,
What's the biggest one you've seen?
Okay, what's the most hectic thing that like if you go? This one time when I was at a bar, what's the story
What's
you
the
go
one
to?
you go to? What's the one you go
the
to?
most hectic thing that I've seen was when Posse Shot played there one night.
Shout out Posse Shot, hell yeah.
Shout out Posse Shot. And shout out the boys like Khan and Muscles were like out in the street with me, my security, my like bookers trying to like calm all of this shit down. But basically like the short version was there was this girl kind of like bit, off her head somewhere along the line, and I don't even know who even called the Jacks, but someone called the cops because she was like hanging around for ages and being a pain. Cops came, altercation kind of ensued with her, which went on for a really long period of time. Like, like most people think like fights and stuff like go on for ages. Like reality is like, I've been in plenty and I've looked at plenty of CCTV. Most fights or dramas are over in like 30, 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds. That's about all it lasts. This thing was like hours, with this girl, and then like that show finished. 350 odd kids that were at a Posse Shot show, so we know like the kind of audience we're talking about, come out to like 4 cops holding this girl down in the street in the doorway out the front of like the curry shop next to Dad's. And it was like drama. In the end, like thankfully, like one of the cops made the strategic decision, just like let her run, because like they clearly would have had her details by then anyway. But they ended up like they shut the whole street down. There was like 300 people like all like around cop cars like rocking them, all sorts of shit in the street, and it was like brawler van down there and stuff, and they were trying to get me to shut the whole venue down, and I was just like, go in, like this gig was upstairs, like go up, the room's empty, like
it is, it's finished,
it's done, it's just like downstairs was packed, but it was like club kids, and I'm like, they got nothing to do with upstairs, just let it go. But
they're like trying to not come out right now.
It was just, that's probably like the most hectic kind of like drama thing that I've seen. And then I think like probably, and then the probably the most hectic like just operationally thing that I ever had in there was like we ended up one night on a Wednesday with Childish Gambino playing downstairs.
What madness! I'm watching Atlantic and my missus at the moment.
Like ended up like they announced it on Reddit. He played it like what's now Max Watts, but with Hi-Fi Bar at the time. Like he was on Big Day Out, and then I just got a random phone call in the morning from his tour manager being like, this dude wants to play somewhere. And to be honest, at the time I was like, this kind of who? And then I was like, okay, cool. Looked it up. I'm like, this looks like cool. We were running this Wednesday night drum and bass thing, and I was like, this other guy wants to DJ. We just need to make room for it. They weren't stoked on it, but we made it happen. So it got announced on Reddit, and it trended worldwide. And like we ended up with like the line to get in on this Wednesday night was like from the door to the corner
on a Wednesday
around
night,
the corner, like up the road somewhere.
Wow!
And we basically had to fight our way to the stage to even get him on.
Wow!
Because it was so crazy.
Wow! On a Wednesday night too.
And there was like moisture running down the walls because it was so packed in there. And feral, but and there's some footage of it on YouTube somewhere.
That's crazy because you guys have done there's been some crazy things that have happened there. Because you guys hosted the was it Laundry Bar when you guys hosted the Cursiverse 360 battle? Yep. That happened there as well.
360 was there. Yeah. Ghostface played there. Raekwon's played there. Action Bronson, Freddie Gibbs, AJ Tracy. I mean, Freddie Gibbs played there like last year, like in January after the Forum. He played at the Forum and then went to Laundry afterwards. Do like 20-minute set downstairs, like on the downstairs stage, like just jumped up, started rapping.
That's hectic.
like Bad Not Good, heaps of stuff, like heaps of underground stuff. Like when Coca Nostra played there, it was like Ill Bill, Slang, Day Boy, like.
I'll show you after.
Yeah.
That's hectic. Coca Nostra. I never would have thought that. That's
Coca Nostra
hectic.
played upstairs, like DJ Quick and Corrupt played downstairs.
True. I know who Corrupt is. Yeah.
You know, like there was this, and there's and just other random shit, like, you know, even smaller acts. Like this guy played upstairs one night. It's called like Hyro de Hero, and he was like on Soundwave, and ended up doing like a side show there because like he was like the only rapper on Soundwave or whatever, and it was like a rap venue.
Yeah.
But like the night he played, like all Limp Bizkit's one side of the stage upstairs, Slipknot at the other side of the stage. And then it was just, and they were like, we love this place. And then came back the night after, and DJ Lethal, who was like in Limp Bizkit and House of Pain, ended up DJing downstairs like most of the night. And it's just like, yeah, there was just so many things like that over the years, like in there. Like so many like amazing like
just like unplanned moments and shit,
heaps of unplanned random shit happened. You know, heaps of funny shit, like Young MC played upstairs one night, you know, like people only really cared about Bust a Move and whatever the other one big track he had was. But yeah, no, it's just like there's so many acts, it's just like, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
What was your personal favourite one that's come and played? I'll take it.
Nate Six.
I'm clipping that.
My favourite rapper is Nate Six from the Culture Show.
That's cool.
We got an intro to the Culture Show now.
Look, I don't know. Honestly, like recently, like my favorite gigs have actually been like, you know, a lot of the ones with like Enter.
Yeah.
You know, we've probably done like, you know, Enter got introduced to me a couple of years ago by some mutual friends, and we did like a one-off show with 046, and then we've done a bunch of shows since, and like just his growth and like, you know, how in tune with everything he is, and like just the character, you know.
And actually we've spoken to him a little bit on the Culture Show. He was meant to come on the last Laundry show he came and did here, but he had a wedding or something, he had to fly back too quickly or something. Yeah. But he's just, every time he's spoken to us, his voice messaged us, you know what I mean, and made sure, you know what I mean, like even when he couldn't, even when he couldn't make it, man, you could tell he felt bad. He's like, I'm so sorry, man. He's like, my flight got delayed and I've got a wedding, I'm gonna have to do the show and go, you know what I mean, like, he's a really nice dude, you know. You can tell he's been through a lot, and you know, so. Yeah.
So it's been good working with people like him and, you know, Forte and some of those guys, like just like they're not the biggest acts that we've ever had at the venue or anything like that, but you know, like they're still selling out shows and they're just really good to work with.
Yeah. Down to earth dudes as well.
Yeah, like I find, you know, what I enjoy the most about a lot of this stuff is just like, you know, it's those moments for me where I'm just like, you're sitting there like really like having to be, you know, you're under someone for a while or like all night, you're just busy like just talking to people, you know. Even one like, you know, earlier in the year that was like that was Mad Child.
Yeah,
you know?
I was about to just bring that up because I had with my camera and I was like that, and he like grabs the camera and he like shakes it and he like gets the whole like venue. He's like, everyone get up there. That was sick. I was like, and I'm like listening to Mad Child since I was young. I'm like, wait, this is a fucking, I'll never forget this.
That show, like, you know, him and I were just like, in that back stairwell, like chatting for about 2 hours.
He's just chatting there for ages. I'm
like, like, it was just, we just, you know, he's played there a bunch of times. That was probably the, like, you know, the soberest that I've ever seen him. Because he was, you know, off everything at that time. And, you know,
that's why he's sober now, wasn't he? We've spoken about that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but like, I mean, like his biggest song, Jackal, the film clip, most of the footage is upstairs at Laundry.
True?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. All the live scenes in that Jackal clip are all Laundry.
Fuck, I never even noticed that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I watched that video like fucking many times.
Yeah, look at the live scenes in it and you'll see it's like it's all upstairs at Laundry.
That's nuts. That is nuts.
That is nuts. What the hell? Man, this is such an iconic venue, man.
Yeah, it was funny, like, because you just like, you do, like, when you don't look at it like from that point of view, and then when you do, you'll be like, oh, that's upstairs at Laundry. Like, even like filming shit, you know, we've had other artists here that have like either been related to Laundry or not, and you're filming stuff here, and then you go look at something like, there's I can't remember the track now, but there's a track that Ill Bill and Necro do together, because they're actually brothers.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Necro's Ill Bill's little brother.
Oh, what? That's
So there's a track that they do together, and then all the Ill Bill scenes were all filmed here at what's like this film studio that's opposite what's now like Rubik's.
Yeah.
Because like he was here on like it was like I think it was just an Ill Bill tour, and then like we were just hanging out with Briggs during the day and shit, and then we went and filmed all of the scenes for that like I think it's like family ties or something like that. I think that track I can't remember. But
that's nuts.
But yeah, it's just like when you're like, oh, I'm like I remember all these scenes getting filmed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's wild. But just being, is that like some of the, obviously like probably not all of it, but some of this stuff, man, like was it ever what you planned for Laundry's sort of future to be or legacy to be, or like
anything really?
Yeah,
like,
beautiful.
And that's been the thing now. Like it's just been we never really planned any of it, so it's just been like pivoting now to try and just keep it all going and like kind of like keep things booked and keep it busy and all that, so we can like keep everyone in work and keep the venue there for people to perform and all that sort of stuff.
100%, man. I think that might be, we're at an hour and a half now. I think that might be a good place to finish it off. Yeah, are you happy to?
Is there anything else you want to touch on or anything like that?
That we didn't.
Maybe. Well, I've got one thing is you don't have to say anything, but anything happening with Laundry after the 13th? Like, you're going to go to 15, you're going to go to 20?
I really don't know at this stage, we're just going to, like, just roll with it for now and see what happens. It's really all going to just come down to, like, attendances and trading conditions at the moment. It's just, like, unfortunately, like, I'd love to say that, I had a money tree in the backyard. But, there's definitely been, like, significant amounts of money poured back into the venue to, like, keep everything running at this point. So we just need people to like get out, get to shows, and it doesn't need to just be in our venues. It's just like just go out. Like, go out, have a drink,
boost the industry,
like cause everything will help everybody.
And you get a good night out of it. So just go have some fun.
Go see live acts.
It's good. It's good shit. Like
have a dance,
even comedy festivals and stuff. Like just go out. It's
great
fun.
Go out. Buy drinks. Maybe like like we understand at the moment. That extra couple of bucks a drink or whatever does make a difference to people. But it's just like it can make a lot more of a difference to like small businesses than it can to Coles when you're buying it from Liquorland or Woolworths when you're buying it from Dan Murphy.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to get a better night out of it anyway. You know what I mean? Like a much better night of it. You're in a good environment. There's live acts playing. You know what I mean? You're with your people. Just go have a good time and boost the industry. It's so, you know what I mean? It's all keeps open for the artists as well, because you're not only supporting the venues, you're also supporting the artists at that point as well. So. You know what I mean? But
it's everyone, the bartenders, everyone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But no, Dave, thank you so much for coming on, brother. This has been such a fun chat, man. And we've been trying to make this happen for so long, bro. So I'm so glad we got this done. And thank you guys for watching another episode of The Culture Show, and we'll see you guys in another fortnight. I think we're about done.
That's it, man.
Easy. Take it easy, fam. Peace. That's a little outro. Legendary, man. Thank you so much for coming in.
No dramas.
I was getting way too comfy in that fucking couch. Yeah, that was hell natural too, man.
Yeah.
Beauty.
Sweet. All right.
Before